Okay, I believe I am audible and my slide is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for today's class, we will be discussing about work sampling and standard time. So, what is work sampling? So, we have been discussing about the time study, the method study, and things. So, right. So, in this class, we will be looking into work sampling because why we are going to do work sampling. So, you know what is sampling, right? So, normally, whenever there is a huge population of data or huge number of observations has to be made, what we do is we will try to in order to minimize the effort or in order to reduce the number of experiments to be conducted and the readings to be taken, what we can do is we can randomly select some experiments and we can just observe them, right? That is called as sampling. So that's what normally organizations do. For example, if they want to say for example, if they want to know how the faculty is teaching in the class, like how the way he engages the student. So for that, what we do, we conduct a survey. The the university asks you some certain questions, some 10 5 questions, and based upon that you are rating the professors. Normally what happens in our university, the survey is open for all the students in the class to fill, but sometimes only few students will give the ratings. So that means what, out of all the students, say for example there are 60 students in my class, I can't get data from I mean I can't conduct the survey, or I can't conduct that I can observe all the 60 students. Rather, what I can do is I can randomly select one or two students or six students, like 10 is to 1 ratio. I can select some students and I can conduct the survey with them, or I can conduct some observation among them. So that's why what we do in our classes, we select the top performer, the average performer, and the poor performer. So based upon this, we used to segregate the students so that we can focus on the requirements of to help the slow learner, and how to work with the average performer. So like this we used to work. So this is common knowledge which we do, which is done by everyone, by all the professors. Same way in a company, the workers are need to be observed so that we know how they are performing. We know like who is the best performer or who is not performing well, is not in terms of payment or something. At least it will help them to improve their way of doing, because some employees will believe that the way they work is the best, but there will be a chance for improving their working nature. So what happens, so if we are conducting this work sampling study, we can save a lot of money to the company, as well as we can help and motivate the employees to perform the job better from the way they are doing it. Okay, so that's it. So that is about work sampling to be in general. So how this is done, so normally we randomly select the employees and we conduct the survey. And survey means we are going to observe their way of working. Okay, but what happens when you're observing a worker, as I told in the first class, if a camera is attached to the classroom, the behavior of the students, the psychological mindset of the students, as well as the teaching capability or the deliverability of the faculty will be affected. There will not be any there will not be an environment of interaction happening freely. Rather, it could be a uh, constrained observation, constrained environment will be there. This is going to be just like I think it's famous everywhere in India now. You know the Big Boss, right? The Big Boss show. So where the contestants are being observed continuously. So when you know that you are being observed continuously, the way you perform will change. Okay, it will be a different from what normally you behave. Okay, so that's why work sampling will help to not to focus on the wide group, rather it will be focusing only on the selected individual employees, where we feel that the job done by the particular employee under observation is very critical for the organization. Like we don't need to monitor each and everyone's job in the company. Rather, what we can do is we can observe only the job which is critical for the success of the company, or it will improve the production of the of the factory. Though only those jobs can be examined, so that it will save a lot of time and money to the company, and also you can improve the process of the critical jobs. Okay, so for example, in this case, what happens, there is an employee who is being absorbed for a week period, for 7 days, for 1 week he is being observed, and the number of observation is 500. So he has been observed for at 500 instances. His working capability is determined, is observed. So during this time, 365 days, 365 times of this 500, out of 500 he was working. But 135 times he was found idle. So randomly they make 500 observations, and they feel that 365 times they are working and 135 times they are being ideal. So now we don't need to worry about the working hours. That is 365 times he was working, that we are not worried, but we are worried about the ideal time. So the ideal time, of the ideal time percentage of the work employee is 500 observations 135 times. So 135 divided by 500 to get it in percentage 100. So we get 27% of the time we note that the worker is idle. But on the other hand, he is working for 365 time instances he is found working. So really, out of 100 percentage, only 27 percentage is idle. That means he is not performing, uh, only for 27 percentage of the 1 week. 1 week, 20, only 27 percentage is not performing. So this way we can come to know like how many observations based upon the again this number of observation will also we can also mislead us. Like, instead of observing for 500, if I would have observed only for 400, and if you would have found, the data would have, the computation will change depending upon the working nature of the employee. So the number of observations or the duration of observation is also very important in case of work sampling. Okay, the sampling techniques are classified into three types. One is systematic sampling, via random sampling, and stratified sampling. Systematic sampling, all these things are depending upon the duration of sampling. Say, for example, systematic sampling, like you are conducting an experiment in fluid mechanics or thermal engineering, and the time what happens, you are going to measure the take the readings at 10 minutes. Say for example 10 minutes, for every 10 minutes you are going to take the readings in a fluid mechanics lab, or at 10, as the readings get down, what I'm going to say is, it will be on time, based upon some time period after 5 minutes or 5 seconds. For each and every 5 seconds you may take the reading, or each and every 5 minutes you may take the reading. So that is called systematic sampling. Like for example, you know the electricity bill is being, in Tamil Nadu, it's being taken every month. Sorry, twice in a month. Sorry. By monthly. That is 2 months once they are going to measure the current consumption of any of your house. So what happens? The duration is 2 months. For every 2 months, the recording has been, the readings of your electrical consumption is measured. So that is called a systematic sampling. Then we have random sampling. Random sampling, we don't mind about the time. We can do it anytime we want. So that is called as random sampling. Say for example, random sampling, uh, like any, it does not have any time constraint. Whenever you feel of conducting a test, you can conduct, maybe like a surprise test. Like randomly I may conduct some test to you, which can be evaluated. So that is called as random sampling. Or it can also be out of, there are 1,000 people, it will be like a exit poll survey. Randomly we select the citizens, and we randomly ask them who will be winning these elections, and that can be a random sampling, like randomly you select. You don't have a particular time of conducting the survey, and you don't have a particular pattern of conducting the survey. Or survey here, I mean the observation. So that is called as random sampling. Then what is stratified sampling? Stratified sampling is like you used to do a set of systematic sampling, but after a period of time you feel that okay, this is not of great of more this way of doing the sampling is not anymore required for the particular work. So you can change from systematic to random sampling, or we can call that stratified sampling as a combination of both systematic and random sampling. If you have the combination of, or the hybrid approach, then we call it as stratified sampling. Then how to conduct this work sampling? So first we are going to select, like as usual for the method study and time study, whatever we studied, the same way we are going to select the problem. Like we are going to define the problem, and by selecting this problem, we should be selecting the problem which is of critical nature. Like say for example, if only because of this the process can be improved, the profit of the organization is there, or the production of the organization is going to increase only because of this job, you're going to select such critical jobs, and you're going to conduct the survey. Say for example, sometimes some products are sold only because of their packing. There may be a worst product, but because of the packing, the product is sold huge in a huge quantity in the market. Let's take an example of a chips manufacturing. Okay, the chips can be manufactured by everyone, even in a house you can manufacture or produce, but the packing is what matters. So if the packing is considered as a critical job, what you can do is you can conduct the work sampling study only for the packing section. Of course, it's going to be automized, so we can't do the work sampling. But if any employee is being taking care of this packing industry, packing area, then the work sampling can be conducted on him. Okay, while selecting the job for conducting this work sampling, you need to be very careful. Okay, so we should know, like we should always try to find the ideal time of the job. So you can select a job where you find your employees are ideal for a long period of time. So to those job you can conduct the work sampling. So how to do this? First, we should be under we should know, or we should calculate how many number of observation has to be made. Okay, so we should know the number of observation for a particular job. Then what will be the time duration, or what will be the periodic interval? What is the time interval between the first observation, the second observation, and the consecutive observations? The time gap should be very clear to us. And how we are going to take the observations, the plan for taking the observation should be very well clear with you. So okay, then you can include how we are going to, like which kind of recording technique you are going to use, that can be even defined. Then you should contact the person whom you are going to conduct the observation, and you can keep them informed. It has both negative and positive, because unlike in India, if you want to even click a photograph in public in other countries, you should take the permission. Or you should, even if you're recording a session, you should take a permission from the participants. Like we should take approval from the participants of the even even if I'm recording this online class in other countries, I should be taking a permission from you, the students, to promising that this will not be your identity will not be revealed like that. But in India we don't mind about the things. Same way, if you're going to conduct a work sampling study, or if you're going to keep an worker under observation, you're going to get the permission and win the confidence of the employee whom you're going to observe for this work sampling. That is one important point. Next, like uh, you are going to make the you are going to do some random observations for the working condition or the working state as well as for the not working state. So if for let's say there are we are going to observe an employee when he is working and the time when he is not working. So for the working time, for the time which is effectively spending inside the company, you are going to give him some performance rating. You should remember the remember the time study formulas, time study method study formulas, where you give this performance rating depending upon the work what is doing. It's not about the performance rating for hike salary like that. It's different, right? You should understand the difference. So for the working time, you should know the perform for the you should be able to give him the performance rating, and you should record both working time and non-working time in the any of the recording sheets what you know. Then after collecting the information from the employee, you are going to uh, uh, you are going to observe the employee from the starting time of his work to the ending time of this work, or what is the time duration you are going to fix. Okay, so you're going to calculate from starting to ending of the job, how what was his performance. Then based upon that you can calculate the standard time for producing one unit. He may produce 1000 units of product or 100 units of products in a given day, but you are going to understand to produce one component, what is the standard time he is taking by adopting the standard operating procedures or standard operating conditions. Then what are the advantages of this? I don't want to go much deep into these advantages. Rather, I will summarize and let me convey it to you. So what is this going to how this work sampling is going to benefit the company economically? So when you are able to do this time study or by work sampling method, what happens is that you are going to save a lot of time. And imagine a worker, a observer can observe two people at a time. Rather observing a single observer, he can simultaneously he will be able to handle two employees at the time. It's going to consume less man hours in conducting this study. And if your area is wider, this this work sampling technique will not be useful anymore. You don't require a stop clock, the conventional stop clock method to do the study, because you're going to video record and you're going to be very close to him, and it requires less time to do these calculations. And sometimes they are using a sensory cards kind of thing, and which can be fed to the computing machines, I mean the computers, to get the results instantaneously. Then it is flexible, like it is not affecting the working of the working time of the employee or the observer. And the observer is not being watched for a long time, because if you say for example he's working for 8 hours, he may be observed only for 1 hour or less than 1 hour while conducting this study. Rather it's not like 8 hours you're going to keep the camera in front of them and observe what they are going to do. It's not going to be like that. Then the chances of errors, okay, so say for example if you are being observed for a long period of time, you may make mistakes in doing the job, like out of anxiety or out of some out of fear, you may do the job in a wrong way. So what you can do is you can be if the observation time is less, he will be able to perform the job in with in a free state of mind, so that the job quality will also be not affected. Operators will like it because it's not going to be they are not being observed for a long time, and observers will like it because this will make their job easy, or they will become less fatigue while doing this study. What are the disadvantages? Okay, as I told you, if the working area is wide, this study is not advisable. And this is not going to provide elemental time data, like each and every motion time data you used to collect, right? So that motion time data or the work element data, time consumed by each and every work element is not available. Rather it will give the standard time of the entire job, not for the each and every individual thing. But what happens when when they know that you are being observed, the observer is observing the employee, the employee will perform in a different way. Like only when you are being only when you are observed, like the way you act will be different. For instance, if you are driving a vehicle, and if you know that you are being your speed limit are being captured by motion sensors, only in those areas you will be driving very slowly and in the specified speed. Rather at other places you may drive very fastly. So only when you know you are being observed, you will drive safely. Same way, when you know you are being watched during this online class, you'll be sitting, or you'll be sitting in a correct posture. But if you know that I'm not watching you, you may even sleep, or you may even mute my lectures. Just you will, because already you're switching off your videos, you'll be muting yourself. I don't know what you're doing, to be frank, right? In real time, I don't know what you're doing, whether you're sitting, you're sleeping, or I'm speaking alone to myself. All these problems are there because of this online sampling, online classes. Same way, when you do this work sampling, the employees may do like you, the employees may also do the same. And but what is the thing is, compared to stopwatch method, because stopwatch method directly you conduct the study by using a stopwatch by standing near to this. But in this case, it involves a lot of statistics. Work sampling involves a lot of statistics, so you should have a better knowledge of statistics to do this work sampling. So these are the disadvantages of doing work sampling. Okay, I want you to note down this formula to do the next problem. That is the number of observations. So how to calculate the number of observations? That is the first step in doing this thing. See, there are a lot of formulas to calculate the number of observations, number of readings required, number of sampling work samples required. So to do this, there are a lot of formulas available. So one is this, the number of observations. So to calculate this number of observations, we should know the confidence level. That is a statistical value. In case of examination, the z value will be given to you, and you should know the standard deviation, and that is a standard formula to calculate the error. So error is equal to standard deviation is equal to error divided by the confidence level. Okay, as per statistics. Then, but we know to calculate the number of observations, it's going to be p into q, where p stands for percentage occurrence of an activity or delay in terms of percentage, and that is how much time is doing the activity in percentage, and how much time he is not doing ideal, keep being ideal state. So working state and ideal state percentage divided by standard deviation, sigma square. So that the formula, instead of that sigma square, we are going to substitute e and z, and we get the formulas z by e, the whole square, into pq. So please note down these formulas before you proceed to the next problem. I hope you're noting down the formulas. Can you move to the next slide?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Here in this case, the problem is like this: calculate the required number of observations necessary for an accuracy of plus or 3%. So this plus or 3% is the error, and error means e, and confidence level of 98%. This confidence level of 98 percentage is the z value. Then if the total number of observations for machines working is 3000, that is the machine is working for 3000 times and ideal for 1000 times. So the total number of observation will be is going to be 3000 plus 1000, that is 4000. Okay, so randomly they make the thing, right? So then to calculate p, it is going, p is for ideal time. So 1000 divided by 4000, the number of observation was 4000. Then um, q value is 3000. So 3000 divided by 4000, so it is going to be 0.75. The z value is, sorry, here it should be here it should be 98 percentage. Okay, I should change this. So 95% of the confidence level is going to be 1.65. This value will be given to you in the problem, so you no need to worry about this. Just direct substitutions we are doing. Then we are going to calculate the So we know z value as 1.65, error value as 0.03, that is 3%, which is given to you in the problem. P we have calculated as 0.25, Q we have calculated as 75, 0.75, because these are in thing, right? So we are substituted that. So just dividing by 1000 divided by 4000, 3000 divided by 4000, only that is the calculation what you are doing. Then we are directly substituting those values to calculate the n value. N value, because I can make the observation 67.18 percentage, I'm rounding it off to 568, the next higher number. So the next I'm rounding it off, actually I'm rounding it off to 568. Okay, so this is the number of observation what is required now. The number of samples what I have to check for this action. So this is what we have for work sampling. So the next part of the thing what we are going to discuss is called as standard work. What is standard work? So now we have connected the method study, we have connected the time study. So the work study is now ready with us. So now what we are going to, so after making all these things, you have a revised working plan. You have the revised standard operating procedures. So you're redefined the way that your workers are going to perform. Okay, so that means you have a new plan with you, but how to do this? So how to implement the new way of doing the job? uh, we know how we see, say for example, uh, there's a way of doing a job, but we are used to, but now we are doing a job in certain way, but there's a chance of improvement. So you are going to take that way to make it as and we are going to adopt that way. You make your employees to adopt that way. Okay, let me give you one example for better understanding. Imagine a situation like this: post covid, all students has to wake up at 6 o'clock. Imagine a situation in VAT. Okay, so imagine a situation like this: post COVID, you are going to come to the college, and every one of you has to wake up at 6 o'clock, and you have to get ready by 6:30, hit the grounds, run two rounds or three rounds in the hostel grounds, get back, go to the attend the classes at sharp at 8 o'clock, and 12 o'clock we have a break again. 2 o'clock we have a class, you have a break at 6 o'clock, and by night 9 o'clock everyone is supposed to sleep. Is it, will it work out? Right?
Definitely no, sir.
Definitely not over, because we were not used to that. But imagine a situation if that is being made as a new normal. Okay, for social distancing or something like that. So we are not used to this. So even say for example again the COVID-19. So we are not used for the social distancing, or something, or wearing a mask continuously. So we are not used to this. But now we are making it as a standard. Year after the situation is going to be, the standard operating procedure is going to be, you should have a mask, you should wear some gloves or something, you should always have a sanitizer with you, you should not sneeze in public, you should not spit in the public. Already the rules are there. Right? So that is what we are going to behave differently after this COVID, when we reopen. Okay, the faculties are going to come to the class, or the college with the mask. The students are going to use the mask, right? Every time we are going to sanitize ourselves. Okay, there's a lot of question mark here and there happening. So how we are going to, when reopening happens, how we are going to behave? There's going to be a behavioral change, and over a period of time this behavioral change will become your life. It will become a part and parcel of your life. We don't mind, right? Like, you may enjoy now waking up late or sleeping late, but when you join a job, when you're to be supposed to be there in an office by 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, you have to be there at 8 or 9 or 10, right, depending upon your topic. So that, because you're going to change the way you're going to work. And you may be having a habit of not maintaining your work table or a study table properly. But in case of when you join an office, when the office demands, you're going to maintain your workplace correctly. You may not have the habit of wearing good clothes to the colleges, but when you join a job, you're going to be professional. So that's how the changes are going to happen. So same way, now what happened after conducting this work study, time study, all this whatever study we have conducted, we observed the workers working nature. We know how much time is taking to work, you know how better he can work, how what are the changes you have been training your employees and giving them some advice how to change their working nature or working behavior. So all these things are there, but how to standardize this, that is very important. How to make it a new rule or new normal. So first we are going to write what is the safety involved in this, how it can improve the quality, how efficiently it can be brought into the practice. So all these things you are going to think, and there are, and you should make the plan clear that that will be accepted by all everyone in the organization. It's not that you used to wake at 4 o'clock, you can't ask the employees to wake at 4 o'clock and come to the company by 5 o'clock. That's not possible. Okay, since you wake up at 4, it's not like everyone can wake up at 4. So that, so it should be some way, some, I'm just giving an example like that. So it should be some procedure which can be adopted, which is acceptable by most of the people in the company. Of course everyone will not accept, there should be someone, I mean there should be something like which everyone can say, okay, okay boss, we can do it hereafter, like that. Then there should be chance of improvement of this again. So there's always, there will be a chance of improvement, so we should know that there's going to be a revision or there's going to be improvement in this. Then we will define, like for each and every activity only this is the time duration. Like how they define this, previously we used to have a class for 50 minutes. Now we are supposed to conduct the class for 45 minutes and engage the students in some other activity for the rest of the 5 minutes or something like that. And since students can't listen to us continuously, we are going to change the way we deliver. So all these things are being there. Normally to my it's only about me. Normally what I can handle in 50 minutes class by the physical interaction, but the virtual interaction stops me from interacting or I find it difficult to deliver all my points when it's being virtual. Of course I'm trying to push myself, but pushing more will also create fatigueness in you. That's why we are trying to pull down the lessons. Like whatever I took one class, now it's taking me two class. So the amount of time is being defined, like in yeah, but the amount of time is being defined, like in this duration I should be able to complete this number of modules, so that my students can write in cat to this modules, like that. Okay, so we should try to reduce the variations and how to improve the consistency. We should improve, and it should be implemented across all work areas. So how to do that? Okay, so there are five elements which we should understand. That is, what is my customer demand? Then what will be the more efficient work? What are the steps I should adopt? What is the cycle time? What is the cycle time required for one component? How I can do the quality check for all the components to ensure that I am producing a good quality component without defect and errors. And what is the exact amount of work what is required? As I told you, let's see with this example. So we have this is the path to standard work. Again, this is an important in point of in exam point of view. What is the path to standard work? So this is the, imagine there's a tag time. Okay, what is tag time? Tag time is, say for example, what is the available time. So I am having some orders with me. I have to complete the orders. So for that I have some time. So there I have some more time, like say for example there is an order for 6 hours out of 8 hours, and the remaining 2 hours I have as the available time. And some one more customer is coming and asking me, can you make this 100 number of units? Then I say, okay, I have 2 hours of time, and I get a new order for 200 items. So 2 hours, 200 items, whether it's possible. That is called as tag time. Then when I know the tact, like I will know how much time is available with me to do the job. Then based upon that, I know what is the work, what is the quantity of work I should put in, or and what is the sequence of operations I should perform to complete the job. That I should know. So that is called as work content and sequence. We should know actually how much volume of work is required and what is the sequence I should do. To make it understand very simple, I'll give you one example. You are going to write an exam for 3 hours. So what you do, you know there are some questions. Say for example, there are some 8 questions in the examinations or 5 questions in the examination. For question number 1, how much time I should allocate, and for question number 2, how much time to allocate. So for each and every question you should know how much time I should take to complete this question, so that I can complete the examination in 3 hours. So that is called as work content planning. So then that is called as tag time. You're planning the tag time for based upon the available hours and the number of questions you are going to calculate that tag time. After doing that, you're mentally you're processing that in which sequence I should write the answer the questions. Let's say for example, should I answer the 8th question first, or the first question as the last question? You jumble, right? You can shuffle, and you will write the whichever question you are confident, you will put it on the first. Whichever questions you are not confident enough, you will be putting at the last in your examination. That is called as sequencing. Then after doing the sequencing, you know how much to write for each and every question. Like for example, for question number 1, if I am writing the question number 1 in the first, you will know how much time is required for me to, how much content I should deliver in that first question. You may know the question very well. You can write it for 10 pages, but you should know how much I should write for this question, for the marks what is given to this, what maximum marks, what can be given to the question. So you will be writing your answers for the mark. Say for example, if there is a 10-mark question, you are not going to write only 2 3 lines as a definition to or an answer to that question. For a 2-mark question, you are not going to write for 10 pages. So that's a different, that is called as work content, or what content what you are going to give. Okay, then line balance, that's a load chart, balance work, enable flow, required resources. Like load chart, like as I telling, like each and for every machine, how much is the capacity. You should know the capacity of the machine, like how much the machine can produce in a given time. So that is what load chart. Or what are the jobs waiting, like the load chart is nothing but your, in your case the load chart is going to be the subjects which you are selected for this semester. That is how many working hours you are, how many subjects you handle. That is the load. How you are going to balance the work by by maintaining a time, by balancing the based upon the flexible credit system, you are going to balance the work. How you are going to enable flow? Okay, 8 to 9 I have a class, 10 to 11 I have a class, like that you are going to make the flow. And you are ensuring that you have a very good internet facility and a laptop or a mobile phone with you. That is the required resources in case of online examinations. Similarly, in a company, uh, the how much the machine can, a particular machine can handle, how many parts can be produced by using the machine. That is called as a load chart. Depend and balance, like there are 3 4 machines in a company, like it will balance, like this machine A can take 10 jobs, machine B can take 20 jobs, machine C can take only 5 jobs. So at a time I can process only 10 20 and 5. So there is like only 35 jobs can be done in a company at a time. That is balancing. Then how the flow is going to happen? Because these 3 machines can be required to process one component. Yeah, 3 machines can be required to process one component. So what happens? After finishing the component from A, it can move to B. From B, it can go to C. If that is a sequence, we should plan it properly. That is enabling flow. And before doing this, we should ensure the availability of the machine in working condition, the availability of the labor, the availability of the money and money, and we should ensure the availability of raw material and other required tools like jigs and fixtures or any special tools required. All these resources to be planned. Then after that, what you're going to do, we are going to take care of standard work in progress. So like work in progress, any item should not be waiting. Like say for example, if the machine is going to wait from A to B or B to C, there should not be any waiting between this. So the flow should be smooth and convenient. So so we should be able to enable the flow. We have to balance the, once the line balance is happening, we can drastically reduce the waiting progress. There is no queue. We are not going to have any queue. That's the logic. Okay, so standard waiting progress we are going to trying to do. So how to do that? We can do the standard waiting time can be standard work can be done by using combination sheets. Like we can plan, like accordingly we can have a timetable kind of thing, and we can plan what is the content, or what is the work content, what is the working thing required, what is the sequence of operation to be adopted, what is the timing to be given for each and every equipment, what will be the outcome, and how safety the job can be performed. So this is the path to standard work. So you should know how to work with this, work with any item. So how to do this? Okay, I'll take only 2 more minutes to, I'll take only 2 more minutes to complete this, sorry. So you should create a standard process plan, like from starting to ending you're going to create a standard plan. Then you're going to create what are the work requirements to do this work requirements. You should know the job title, you should know the working area, who is going to be involved in that, what is the takt time, cycle time, work sequence, what are the approvals you got, what are the documents you required, who's going to be the owner, taking the ownership of this activity. So all these things you are going to note down. So after getting the that, we are going to get all the required informations from the shop floor. Then after getting the all the informations, you are going to create standard work documents, like you are going to prepare the standard operating procedures. Like there will be a sheet, or it can be a thing which can be posted anywhere on the company, so that okay, people know, okay, so in this area it's mandatory to wear the safety hat. This is the area where you should not use your mobile phones. So like that, some standard, this is I'm just speaking in the perspective of safety. And you're going to train the supervisors. When you train the supervisors, they will train the employees who are working there. So it's going to be that. So you should train the supervisor, because supervisor level of conduct will be different. And you should train the employees separately, so his way of operations, way of or his level of operations will be different. So you should train both the supervisors and the employees. After doing that, run the process, find out where you can save time, where you can reduce the 7 waste of leave, and if any adjustment is required, you do the adjustments to the job. Then after that, you are going to try to make it a new normal, or making it as a standard operating procedures. Okay, then what to do? You keep standard work simple, you make the work simple, make it accessible, and you should make the standard operating procedures to be readable document, and it should be accessible to everyone. Okay, and explain each part very clearly. Okay, and always welcome the suggestions for improvement. So you should welcome the contents from your employees for improvement. And after getting making the standard operating procedure, don't put it in your disk drawer, or don't just put it in your in some place where it will be safe, and you will never read it. If you're not reading it, all your efforts, or if it's not being implemented, all your efforts in conducting this work study or the method study will go in vain. So it go useless. So after developing it, you try to implement. And when implementation, you should really be tough, because unless your the law is being strictly enforced, it will not be followed. Just like the case of helmet. Okay, unless the law is being strict, we won't follow it. Or the seat belt for that matter, or walking in the footpath, in the platform what is being provided. So all these things are required when you do standard work. So conducting the study or conducting the standard work involves a lot of efforts, a lot of calculations and other things. But to after making a standardized operating procedures, implementing that, you should be very strict. Otherwise, all your efforts will not be fruitful, or it will not be gaining any fruitful to you. So this is what we have. So this a standard work combination sheet will be like it will observe, okay, this employee, how much manual time, like how much machine interaction is there, how much is walking. This is just for your reference, like how it will work. This how the standardized worksheet can be prepared. So by this we complete the fourth module. So for your examination, you will be having both fourth module and the fifth module. Okay.